It's amazing how one simple chance encounter can completely shape a career. We're about to dive into a story about exactly that. It's about a knock on a door, a teenager with a guitar, and, believe it or not, a fishing tackle box that has absolutely nothing to do with fishing. This is pretty much the whole story in a nutshell. It's our destination. But to really get how we get there, to feel the impact of that one single habit, we've got to go all the way back to the moment it was born. So where does a story like this even begin? Well, it starts with a simple, ordinary walk home. It's one of those moments that feels just like any other, but it's about to be interrupted by something that will, quite literally, change the course of a life. Okay, so picture this. We're in the early 1980s. The setting is the sprawling townhouses of the Maryland suburbs, and our main character is a teenager named Stu, just a kid who's obsessed with music, walking through his neighborhood with his buddy, Coop. As they're walking, they hear something that just cuts right through that suburban quiet. And it's not the sloppy garage band practice you'd expect to hear. No, this is a professional, tight rock and roll sound, and it's pouring out of a basement. It's so good it literally stops them in their tracks. And here we are. This is that fork in the road moment. Do they keep walking, or do they actually dare to knock on the door? You can just feel those teenage jitters, right? That mix of intense curiosity and just paralyzing nervousness. They're debating, they're hesitating, but thankfully for the story, curiosity wins. With that one decision, Stu crosses a threshold. He steps out of the ordinary world of the sidewalk and into this space that is just buzzing with real, raw creativity. And what he finds inside, well, it's going to change everything. So Stu works up the courage, and he knocks on this sliding glass door. It slides open, and instead of getting yelled at or shooed away, these two musicians, Pam and Ray, they see these two wide-eyed kids, and they just invite them in, just like that. Now, Stu and Coop were probably expecting to find some other high schoolers, clumsily banging their way through some cover songs. But what they found was the real deal. They walk in and there's Pam, a powerhouse rock singer, and Ray, a guitarist who was just on a whole other level. They were completely blown away. I mean, the air in that small basement was just electric. It was pure shock and awe. This wasn't just a hobby for these people. This was a craft being perfected. Stu and Coop were witnessing true artistry, up close and personal, in a room no bigger than your average living room. They were rehearsing Goodbye to You by Patti Smythe and Scandal, and Stu remembers it sounded absolutely flawless. It was just like the record he listened to on repeat in his bedroom, only this was happening live, right there, just a few feet away. For any kid dreaming of being a musician, that is a truly magical moment. So that first invitation, it grew into something way more profound. It became this informal mentorship that would lead to the core lesson of this entire story. A lesson that, weirdly enough, came in the form of a simple fishing tackle box. Over time, Pam and Ray kind of naturally fell into this role of being mentors. It wasn't formal lessons or anything, just generous, real-world advice. At one point, Pam even helped Stu and Coop finish the lyrics for a song they were stuck on. And as a thank you, they actually named the song Pamelin right after her. All right, so then, during one of these jam sessions, Stu notices something that seems completely out of place. Tucked away between the amps, the mess of cables, and all the guitars is a fishing tackle box. It just doesn't add up. So Stu finally asks, "Hey Ray, what's with a fishing tackle box?" And this is the moment. Ray opens it up, and inside, there are no fishing lures. It's a guitarist's survival kit. You've got your extra strings, batteries, screwdrivers, Allen wrenches, picks, everything. The message was unspoken, but it was crystal clear. A pro doesn't just show up and hope for the best. A pro is prepared for the worst. And that single moment, that simple act of opening a box, it was not forgotten. It planted a seed that would grow into a lifelong habit, a habit that Stu still has to this very day. Just look at this. On the left, you've got Ray's kit from back in the 80s. On the right, that's Stu's backpack today, decades later. Sure, the technology's changed a bit. He's got a small recorder in there now, but the spirit is exactly the same. It's his modern-day tackle box, a direct legacy from that one afternoon in the basement. And that, right there, that's the whole point of this story. The tackle box was never really about the tools inside. The real gift Ray gave Stu wasn't a shopping list. It was a mindset. It was the philosophy of preparedness, of taking your craft so seriously that you are ready to solve any problem that comes your way. And that brings us to the final question, and I'm asking you this directly. This idea of a tackle box, it goes so far beyond music, right? In your career, in your life, what does your tackle box look like? What are the essential tools, the skills, and the mindsets you carry with you every single day, ready for whatever the world decides to throw at you?